Good evening, all. I'm your host for the evening, Ananya, and Team Polkadot India welcomes you all to a very exciting chapter of Dot Friday that's all about blockchain gaming. A little bit of introduction about us. Polkadot India is a pan India community for blockchain developers, entrepreneurs, investors, students, and even simply blockchain or crypto enthusiasts. And at Dot Friday, we bring to you conversations with global leaders to help you in your blockchain journeys. Now, for our first timers here again, we also have an ongoing Rust and Substrate developer bootcamp. And our final session of the current series with hands on Substrate recipes and more is next Saturday. That's the 26th of Feb. So, developers wanting to learn Substrate and Rust from foundation levels and even, wanting to learn to build their own projects over time, do join us on our exclusive developers Discord channel. And the link should be in the chat for you. Right. Now, guys, another announcement. Do live tweet during this event if you're interested with a screenshot or any way that you like, saying that you are at Polkadot India's dot Friday. Tag us with @ Polkadot India, and also tag 2 friends who are probably not followers of our yet. And 5 best quote tweets will win some special hampers. Right. And now it gives me great pleasure to call upon our grounded yet quite a genius founder of Polkadot India, who has a great plan for all of us to grow together. And let's have him kickstart this evening and introduce and welcome you to this blockchain gaming chapter of Dot Friday. Welcome, Amit. They're all yours.
Welcome, everybody, once again to Dot Friday. I presume many of you are first timers over here. So we guys are building a layer 1 blockchain ourselves. It's called Socially, and we're building it on Substrate, aspiring to be on the Polkadot blockchain. While building it, we realized that building on this new framework, this technology wasn't pretty straightforward. And given that the future of blockchains would be highly reliant on layer zeros, or rather interoperable blockchains that allow messages and information data to be passed between different chains, we felt that this community needs to grow. And with that intention, we got started with building Polkadot India. We're a big and thriving community right now. And we really hope that going forward, we get many of you guys who are building on Polkadot or who are building your own blockchains on Substrate to get you connected with the global ecosystem. And we're also doing our developer boot camps to get you guys up and running with Substrate and bringing your dApp ideas, your own protocols, etc. out. Within a couple of years, we hope that India has several startups from within this community that is making its mark in the global ecosystem. And at some point in time in the future, we really look forward to creating our own incubator to get some of the best ideas from India and getting them capital as well as the know-how to scale great heights. So that's about Polkadot India, what we guys are doing. And I hand over again to Ananya to introduce all of our speakers. We have some fantastic people with us today. Anshul, who's a gaming veteran, been working in the metaverse space, building Xanverse, and Joseph, who is again from the gaming industry, been a part of several very big ticket sized gaming ventures, also the CEO of Engine Starter, and Rashmi, who is building what we hope will be world's envy, India's pride, in the form of a leading first-person shooting blockchain game from India. Over to you, Ananya.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amit. Things are sure headed a great direction with your vision in place. So so now an announcement, guys, before we start off the evening. So here's a contest for you. Last time round, we had great fun with this. So make a meme about you being here at Dot Friday. Tag us on it on Twitter. And the top 3 memes will win 50 USDT worth of dot each. And that goes straight to your wallet. So the contest is on for the next 24 hours, guys. Have fun with it. And yeah, we really look forward to what you have to say this time. And yeah, some hilarious stuff from last time. Thanks for that, guys. Now, let's get to the whole point. Gaming has come a long way since its humble origins. Those of you who remember playing Super Mario on a 16-bit gaming console are aware of how once upon a time this was a very simple industry, and now it's evolved to a treasure trove of, it's emotionally charging, it's engaging, and virtual reality games. The reward, the precision, the preparation, and the entire interaction that all of the gamers have around is quite exciting. So also gaming has changed where venture capitalists are now investing, like till date have invested over $4 billion to support this development of blockchain games. So without further ado, let me give you the founder of Zionverse. That's India's first gaming metaverse, guys, and also the brain behind Lakshmi NFTs, if you all recall. So I give you Anshul Rustaggi, an alumnus of IIT Delhi, IIM Bangalore, London School of Economics. He's got all the credits to his bill, but gaming stole his genius mind away into now creating these thriving blockchain gaming projects. Anshul, it's an absolute pleasure having you here with us today, and very excited to hear all you have to share with us.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here, and really excited and looking forward to this conversation. Great. So do you want me to just start and give an overview of what we are building, or how would you like me to go forward?
Absolutely anything you'd like to start off with, Anshul. It's after all India's project, so it's pretty exciting for us.
Okay. So at Zionverse, what we are building is a decentralized Roblox in essence for India. Our vision is really that, Web3, the mass adoption has already started from 2021, and we feel that Web3 will be comprising of three main components. One, it'll be immersive. Two, it'll have to have ownership, which will be powered by blockchain and decentralization, which is where a lot of NFTs come into place. And three, it'll also have integrated economics. I think some of these forces have already been in place for some time. We have already seen immersion picking up. So whether we are gamifying education, Google Pay gamified payments with Scratch Card, which actually got them a lot of adoption, or the most recent social networks have actually become games. We moved from text-based posting on Facebook to pictures on Instagram, to videos on TikTok, to now Roblox, Minecraft, PUBG, and Fortnite being the new social networks for the Gen Z. In terms of ownership, obviously, given the concerns we have had with data and privacy, there has been a growing call for people to have control over their data and also the autonomy to decide what to do and how to interact with the ecosystems. The other really big benefit of ownership is that people are really aligned with the ecosystem itself, right? Like whether you are an owner of your house, an important member even in a startup team, the reason you actually give ESOPs is that people become aligned to the company. As the company grows, they grow, and this alignment actually causes the startup to perform a lot better than in the previous way where wealth creation was only limited to the owners and the up stakeholders of the company itself. Lastly, integrated economics. Look, as humans, we care about two currencies. There is a social currency, what's my status, who do I know, my relationships, and the other is a tangible currency, mostly about money, discount coupons, can I get things for free? And so far in the Web2 world, we have almost seen sort of two parallel economies working. There is a entire economy of digital ecosystems which are being built on social currency itself. And like obviously your Facebook, your Instagram, WhatsApp, etc. And then there's this other economy which is primarily built on tangible currency, the Amazon, Paytm, PhonePe, and the likes, which are really helping you to do real world commerce or helping you to do services which are more money related, all fintech companies included. I think what we have seen happening is social companies are trying to bring money aspects to monetize, and that's a difficulty they have had. Advertisements clearly don't work anymore. Google and Apple already did IDFA. Google is thinking about something similar, so that's going to get clamped down anyway. That thing has already started. fintech companies and everyone related into finance or money related like Amazon are already thinking about how to integrate social currency, which is how apps and businesses like Misho really took off, which were really playing off social commerce. So the trends for this Web3 move and decentralization are already in place. I think the right time is now, given that we got a mass education of metaverse done thanks to Facebook changing its name to Meta. I think what would have happened over a period of 3 to 4 years in terms of educating the community, educating everyone involved, happened overnight, because one of the largest companies in the world, with the success that Facebook has seen, kind of gave the signal to the entire world that Web3 is not speculative. It isn't about whether it will happen. It is already happening, and that move has already started. So what we are doing at Zionverse is our belief on Web3, where metaverse is our gateway. We are building this decentralized world based on Indian culture and mythology, where people will be able to come into this world, create great 3D content, even create their own games very easily, publish it to the world if they want, keep it private. You can have your own digital house, your garden, your digital pets, meet friends, just chit chat or play games together. And ultimately, we'll be connecting businesses, because it will become the place from where businesses actually communicate and interact with their community, and do commerce, and the future of commerce will be through metaverses and Web3 itself. So that's a little bit of overview of what we are building and sort of my view on Web3. Happy to answer any specific questions or tackle any specific areas that are of interest.
So Anshul, you've been gamer all throughout, and you even via family got acquainted with Roblox. There's some very, very interesting anecdotes that you've shared over there. Could you just fill us into the whole world of how the Gen Z, or how kids essentially are adopting in this metaverse? Literally, they are children. They are creating their own worlds, building their own games that other come. That's the place that they all hang out. It'll be great if you could just share with us what the consumer psyche is today, and what this evolution towards metaverse might be like. Possibly, sharing parallels with Zionverse in the process.
Sure. So see, I think it's a very important question you ask. I have been playing Roblox over the last 6 odd years with my niece, who is based in Canada. And like most preteens in North America, she has been crazy about Roblox. An interesting statistic about Roblox is 85% of 9 to 12-year-old in the US play Roblox actively, and they are an active monthly user for Roblox, right? That's an astounding amount of penetration in any sort of demographic. And I think, the first look you have of platforms like Minecraft and Roblox, they look very basic aesthetically, that they are voxel based. So it's blocky art. They're very different from what now people perceive games to look like, which is a lot more realistic, because like Unreal Engine, which is by Epic Games, which has made Fortnite, is used a lot to even create the latest Star Wars series of Mandalorian, as an example, right? I think the reason that these platforms work and have been growing tremendously is that they offer a lot of freedom, like you said, of creativity, of interaction itself, right? So one really curious thing I found while I was actually playing these games with my niece is, when I was younger, and I have been a gamer sort of all my life, my father got me my first console, which was Atari, when I was really, really young. So I've been hooked on to games ever since. For me, games were a source of entertainment. It was always an objective. It was always an idea that, hey, I've got to finish this mission. And I was very competitive in games, right? So I played Quake 3D quite competitively when I was in IIM, Age of Empires during IIT, etc. And what is curious now with the generation is, it wasn't really about competing, right? And they weren't really even on a particular mission. Like I saw like my niece and her friends would just enter these 3D worlds of Roblox, maybe sit in a car and just roam around the place, and they would just be laughing and giggling, and they just had their FaceTime on at the same time, because Roblox yet for security concerns does not allow audio or video chat. So they used to have their FaceTime on and be on Roblox and just have a gala time, like even dancing, listening to music inside Roblox, right? It's very different to how I perceived games, or games are perceived by even millennials versus what Gen Z is doing. So that was quite interesting. And by the way, all of this was happening even pre-corona, right? So this wasn't that, oh, there was a lockdown, there isn't any way for them to meet in person. Hence, this was a supplement. It wasn't. It was actually a complement to what they were doing. And most of these friends were at their age. Most friends are from your school itself, so they were meeting each other, physically on a daily basis. They would go do their dance classes, piano lessons, swimming classes, etc. Come back, and that hour of hanging out with each other would be a lot more meaningful, a lot more immersive for them, because they were part of these worlds. So I think the interesting part is that as a human experience, we just want to have more freedom, have more creativity. The physical world, because of the physical laws, can only offer you a certain set of what you can do, right? And they're able to do that. They have a lot of activities now as kids planned within school, within their extracurriculars. So I think this gives them an area of expanding, what they can interact with, how they can actually collaborate with each other, or just enjoy with each other, where there are no physical boundaries itself, right? Like some of the popular games on Roblox is the one game is Adopt Me, where you really, you can get an egg out of which even a dragon can come out, and you can keep a dragon as a pet. And I think like that to a lot of people is pretty cool. Even if you have a pet at home, in reality, no one can have a dragon at home, right? So you're really fulfilling a lot of fantasies as well. So I think this is the reason why the immersion in such ecosystems really took off. Look, Roblox has primarily targeted preteens. That's where it has grown. Interesting thing about Minecraft is average age of the user is 24-year-old, right? So they are much older than what people would think. And again, the beauty of Minecraft is the people who play it. It's a game which really challenges your creativity to do whatever you want to do, right? And that autonomy and creativity is what has been driving the growth of Minecraft throughout all these years. It's becoming extremely popular in India. Like recently, I was in the bookshop Crossword. There were two moms who were discussing about how hooked their children are to Minecraft. And even though the schools are opening, they just want to keep sort of creating things on Minecraft, right? So, I mean, of course, there are certain negatives to becoming addicted to games, etc. But overall, this is also taking place in India. It's already happening as we speak. Add to that the fact that you can now, own your own assets. You can actually now become a creator and an entrepreneur in a smaller way, open your shop to trade digital goods, even sell like, I'm just forgetting the name. There is another mobile app which is extremely popular with kids, where I discovered that people are buying digital pizza, right? And they actually pay real money to buy the digital pizza and ice cream. And the only point of that is that it looks cool as you're walking around that you are eating pizza. I actually ended up spending money by buying a digital pizza, and it sounds really weird because you're like, what are you going to do with a digital pizza, right? But it just so happens that as you build social connections, you start buying these things because it feels more natural, it feels more real, and hence sort of this immersive world will keep growing. And as we add more economic layer to it and an integrated sort of economic design, it'll attract people from all sorts of demographics.
Great, thanks. May I continue asking questions?
That would be great. You have some interesting insights too, I'm sure.
Sure. So just, because we have a lot of developers also here, from a development perspective, building an engine that can let users create a game inside a game sounds complex. Could you throw some light on the engineering challenges or any other challenges that you've encountered technically while developing Xanverse?
Yeah, sure. So, see, at Zionverse, we are very inspired with what Minecraft has done. We felt that in terms of having the basic building blocks, voxels, which are just the normal cubes, is actually the most intuitive, because like we play with Lego, like we are given sort of all these different things as kids as well. That's the most intuitive way for us to start creating things, right? So that was one benefit, which is why we went into that area of actually building sort of Lego-like environments. The other is we didn't want to sort of build the entire game engine from scratch. Like building it entirely from scratch, there are some companies, one of them is called Core, which is actually building on top of Unreal. And even then, it has taken them 5 years, I think $80 million. They are a team of 100 developers. So building the rendering engine, which is how you show sort of your 3D art, as well as the physics engine, is a very big part. And we decided that that's not really the USP that we are bringing, right? Like Zion versus rendering engine isn't what we think we can excel in compared to a Unity or Unreal. So we are actually built on top of Unity. And what we have done in terms of tech IP is how do you handle the data when it will become sort of a massive open 3D world like Minecraft maps are, where people are creating, where hundreds of people will be playing simultaneously in one single server. So the tech IP that we really created is that as I keep creating these massive worlds, how can I actually distill that down to data arrays and store them in data arrays rather than 3D models, because otherwise the data bandwidth consumed will be massive. The amount of data I would have to send to the client and even to the RAM will be massive. It will require a lot more GPU energy and a lot more bandwidth. So that's the tech we built, where we are actually converting all this voxel data to data arrays, storing it, and then on the reverse, on a real-time basis, actually rendering that data in the 3D world. So of course, it's a challenge, but we just decided to solve for the puzzle we felt is the most important part, and did not really want to focus on the rendering and the game physics part of it.
Got that. Got that. Pretty interesting. Now, could you also throw some light on the play to earn features that you guys are envisioning?
Yeah. So I think, look, to me, this is so far what we see in blockchain games with respect to Axie, etc. And I think they are already aware of this. There are sort of three economies that will work, right? The one economy which is already being built is very similar to what is happening with real money gaming, which is it's a zero-sum game, right? Like people come in with a pool of money. The people who are the winners take away the largest sum. The people who are losers are sort of left behind. And in fact, for the community, it's a negative sum game, because the platform is also going to take some fee, transaction, tax for actually enabling this, right? So that's one component. That component will be there in Zionverse as well. Frankly, the reason to have it is it's the easiest way to kind of build an economic engine, right? Like you don't have to wait for a while to see value creation. As soon as you start playing the game, there is an economic distribution until the time the community demands it. It's a very easy way to kickstart certain people to do it. On a more longer term basis, the two other factors which are going to create our economic value are, one, the social currency itself. So like Web2 games, there will be a thriving sort of aesthetics market where you're buying costumes, where you're buying a cool looking sword, a better house. Like my cow could be upgraded to look something with golden horns, etc. And I just wanted, maybe my dog is wearing a gold collar, or a pretty cool amethyst collar or something like that, because I just want, I relate to it. I want to show it off to people, because it's now a social platform, so that matters. Including the other part would be, I think I'm very inspired from Supercell. I'm still a very big fan of Clash of Clans. Try to play it daily. I do think I play it daily for at least 15 minutes, if not more.
Wow.
The one thing that Supercell has really cracked and done a fantastic job of is how to monetize time, right? So Supercell isn't play to win. Most of their economy, one way or the other, is substituting tangible currency with the value of time that people have. That model is questionable as to how much it will work in in India, because India accounts for 25% of Clash of Clans players, but I think only 1% of its revenue. So those will be some other monetizations that we will build in. And the last will be, as the ecosystem grows, there is a value of even peer-to-peer trading and peer-to-peer markets, right? Whether that's building a game itself, whether that's connecting actual commerce. So my vision eventually for Zionverse is that it will be the place through which you access Web3. So all metaverses will be places for you to access Web3. The other sort of force that we will have in the Web3 world is that because now you will have integrated economics of social currency and sort of tangible currency, there is a very high probability that what we haven't yet seen in Web2 of super app economies actually takes place within the metaverse itself, right? Super apps so far have only been successful in China, not the US, not even India, hardly any other country. And this verticalization of offerings, which was the way to go for Web2, might change because you're really solving for that trifecta of immersion, ownership, and integrated economics. And whoever will be able to do that will have a very powerful network effect, right? And because of that powerful network effect, most of your access to current businesses, so the Amazon of Web3, the Twitter of Web3, the HSBC, ICICI of Web3, the Zerodha of Web3, etc., all will be accessed through these metaverses, and that's where massive value will be created eventually, right? So of course, so the way I see it is there's a lot of value in content, in sort of the real money gaming equivalent, which is zero sum, great for short run, not great for long run, in the natural gaming economy, and ultimately the largest value creator eventually will be bringing digital commerce onto these metaverses.
Fantastic. I also envision the way possibly Chingari is going ahead building their own digital currency. Do you think that social networks themselves might eventually all start gunning for greater engagement with their own users, by creating their own metaverses?
Yeah, look, I think the question is, so one of the things I would say is, are we going to have centralized metaverses or decentralized, right? Like centralized metaverses would mean that we have taken the experience of, let's say, what you do on Facebook and created and made something even more immersive, right? Which is what Facebook's original plan is. You can now start to see that they are actually shifting the goalpost a little bit, and which is good because they're now talking about, no, we want to build a decentralized metaverse, welcome other developers. It's yet to be seen whether it will be truly decentralized, which means that is it permissionless for me to come onto your network, grow my social network, grow whatever progress I have, and can I then take it away to some other place because I just want to, right? So I think there will be a little bit of a struggle. Like, see, as businesses, when people ask us what's our moat, it's very difficult to say that, look, anyone can build what I'm doing and copy it, and the user and the customer can just walk out, right? With no penalty, right? That's not something that has happened yet. And hence, I always talk about the fact that Web3 companies will have a very different DNA than Web2 companies, right? The fact that you have had the technological skill to build a product actually matters even less, because we're now building on an open standard, and whatever Axie has built already is open to you to access and rebuild it in matter of minutes and seconds, right? So the winners will be the people who can serve the community better, who can communicate with that community and give that community a long-term value, right? So it's 100% sort of community first, which is now no more a catchy mission, but it's actually the reality. So yes, will social networks try to build the centralized metaverse? Absolutely. Can that work? See, it all depends on the community. If people eventually feel that a more immersive Instagram is the only thing that they wanted, and ownership and integrated economics is less important, then that's where we end up, right? I think from my view, from the signs I see, is that ownership and integrated economics matter quite a lot to the community. And hence, I think the future will be more decentralized metaverses, not really centralized metaverses. So I don't think that people can just stop at creating immersive platforms. That'll have to be accompanied by giving decentralized ownership and integrating social currency with sort of tangible currency as well.
Got that. Got that. I'll give it over to Ananya because it's 6:30. Ananya, do we take questions from the public right now?
We have a lot of questions actually, and yeah, a lot of people are. Firstly, I think before we move on to the other technical questions, a couple of questions about what exactly Zionverse helps with, right? So, someone who's absolutely new to Zionverse, what will Zionverse help them do? Create NFTs, build games, play games. So, if we could like dissect that a little in for our absolutely someone who's new to blockchain and gaming.
Sure. So yes, Zionverse. Zionverse is your 3D environment, your 3D place, your 3D virtual life, which is actually based around Indian culture and mythology. So we have specifically selected that content theme. The reason we have created that content theme is we think as Indians, there are two sort of areas we have a deep emotional connect with. One is cricket. The other is our Indian culture as well as mythology. I think Indian culture and mythology is not only a huge white space, so it makes a lot of business sense, but I personally am a big fan and I love it, right? And the interesting part is to me that when I kind of gave this idea to my team, all of which average age is 23 years old, like probably most startups, I think there was a lot of excitement, right? Which increased our conviction to actually do it as we reached out to the community, as we did Lakshmi NFT in December. The positive feedback we received from everyone that they would love to interact with this content and really understand different stories and consume this content was crazy. So this is a world where you will be able to consume all content around Indian culture and mythology, art, stories, narrations, time periods and characters of those era as well. And yes, you will be able to create firstly your own house to live digitally, your own garden, your own pets. You may choose to invite your friends, you may choose to not invite anyone and just have fun with yourself. You can actually publish that content to as many people as you want, like make it public. We will give you very simple game templates. It will be a lot simpler than even Minecraft, where you are building these worlds, attaching game templates. There'll be a lot of AI, what is called NPC, non-playable characters, where there are AI characters with different behaviors. There'll be millions of those for you to pick and choose. And sort of, again, you can keep this world to yourself, publish it to only friends, publish it to the entire world at large as well. So you are in control of what you create, you are in control of what you publish, and you will be in control of how you monetize it if you choose to monetize it. You can create a marketplace there, you can create assets and sell it. You can involve a game monetization so that as people come to your game and play in your game economy, you also make money from it. There have been a lot of people suggesting us that you should have ways to put product placement. We'll obviously think about it and do that. I mean, we are only at the beginning of creating sort of Zionverse and launching it. There is a lot of work to be done. We are doing something very ambitious. And along with that, by the way, because we are very focused on Indian culture, we are also democratizing content creation for Indian culture, right? So you will see, us helping traditional Indian art, whether that's Gond art, whether that's Bhil, etc. We'll be helping craftsmen. We'll be going into this, which these are very much integrated part of our Indian culture, and we are really already working with some of these ecosystems, some social entrepreneurs, to figure out how to create new age ways for us to interact with what is part of our heritage and culture, how to make it more interactive so that you can interact with such things on Zionverse, maybe create comic books out of it, figurines out of it, animation movies out of it. So, there'll be an entire gamut from, I look at it as three set of users. One is the most engaged, who would love to create games, come and play games and interact with the economy in the most interactive way. The second set of users will be the ones who really look at this entire Web3 content NFT space as an asset class, and they will invest in that asset class or consume that asset class. And the last are people who will be the lightest touch, but they'll be consuming content, right? So they'll they'll interact with the comic books, the animation, the figurines, the stories around sort of what we are creating. So we are covering this entire spectrum through content, gaming, as well as integrated economics. So that's the idea. It is definitely very ambitious, but that's what really excites us, and we will be able to, with the help of our community, able to achieve it.
More power to you.
Pardon me? I think Amit.
I said more power to you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I think, with the whole world thinking about, hey, we can make NFTs too, I'm sure a lot of Indians would have thought of mythology, but when it came down to doing it, you have done it and done it so fabulously that pretty inspiring that the Indian mythology is getting out there. Anshul, to be honest, we have a lot of questions for you coming in. To be honest, I'm not too sure how much time we have, but let's take a couple of them. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So when do you think blockchain games are going to be scalable enough to incorporate all the players in the world? So we are talking about the transition of traditional gamers to blockchain gamers. So how do you think that's kind of foreseen?
Yeah. So I think, look, right now, I think this is a very valid point that blockchains themselves are not very scalable. I think when a lot of the data was being written on chain for Polygon, I think they couldn't handle 100K concurrency in one of the games, and it crashed because the TPS is still low, transaction per second are still low. And look, there are sort of two views here. So I'll tell you how we are building. The way we are building it is, as far as immersion, game, etc. is concerned, it'll actually be very centralized because that's the only way to scale it to millions of people playing concurrently. And every user will have a choice to actually write their data on chain whenever they wish to, right? So that minimizes the number of events that are written on chain, yet not compromising on the aspect of ownership and decentralization, right? So I think that's a happy balance that we will have to attain. There are certain games which are already in the market pitching and saying that, the only way the metaverse works is if all 7 billion of us, or if there are 4.5, 5 billion sort of internet or smartphone users, all of us are present at the same time and we can meet each of them and everything will happen on chain and we will enable it. I've been in gaming 4.5 years. From whatever I know, a lot of people have tried to work out even creating a single server room of 1,000 people, right? We have only been able to do this stably for 100 people yet. We will get to 1,000 people in a couple of years because this is something Roblox and many other people are working on, but it's still 1,000. To make a quantum leap to 1 billion people or even 1 million people is crazy. Yes, Moore's law applies. We will get more processing power. CPU and GPUs will become more powerful. But I guess the question is, would the 100 people want to get to 1 million, or would the 100 people want the art to become more realistic and the effects that they get to become more realistic and be able to get more immersed? My bet is that it will be the more immersion rather than let's just include more people in the single server room, because I don't get it's a utopian world where, hey, I just can go into US, into some far-fetched place and meet a stranger, right? One out of 5 billion people, versus a benefit of meeting people I know, the community I want to interact with and having a more immersive experience. So I think one is that will grow still in a little bit of a centralized basis. And then other part would be that, look, blockchains will become higher TPS, but the other aspect would be we will get more protocols, right? I don't see a world where the only chains winning will be Ethereum or Matic or Bitcoin or and so on and so forth. As end use cases grow, we could see a blockchain coming for healthcare. We could see a blockchain coming just to manage DAOs. We could see a blockchain coming just to manage team coordination, right? This is the same thing that we see in Web 2. We shouldn't think of blockchain as currencies. And I hear people say this a lot that, there are really only 10 currencies in the world to worry about. So by the same logic, there should only be 10 blockchains. The word cryptocurrency, I wish we actually called it crypto coin, even from regulators and legalities perspective and everyone's perspective. It would have actually been easier to sort of frame and build it. because the value of that currency is really to transfer and give you value for doing whatever proof is required by that blockchain, right? Whether it's proof of work, proof of staking, proof of gaming, proof of attendance, proof of voting, proof of figuring out a puzzle, etc., etc. There'll be many blockchains that will come, and gaming will have its specific use cases which will actually grow. I personally don't believe that only Solana or Matic or Ethereum will be the ones where games are created. It's a more convenient choice now, right? Like as Zyneverse, I can only handle a limited amount of puzzles. Like I don't want to start building the blockchain for us. But as we grow, there would be enough use case for us to grow. It's pretty similar to why Amazon built AWS, right? If you see the journey of Amazon, every cost, they built the business first. Every cost center was then built into a profitable business later and offered as a service, right? Whether that's AWS, whether that's their in-ads expenditure to actually grow, whether that's review system, so on and so forth. And I think that's the way Web3 businesses will also grow. I think right now it's a battle between sort of what is always said for Dubai, build it and they will come, versus actually more bottoms up, that as people come to these end use cases, we then figure out what is the infrastructure required and then scale that infrastructure. So we will have these sort of to and fro happening. So blockchains will scale both because we will improve CPU, GPU, but also newer blockchain protocols will come specific to the use cases.
That makes so much sense, actually, Anshul. Actually, that crypto coin aspect of it would have been actually simpler for the world, maybe. But yeah, so one more very interesting question. A little bit of it has been answered by you already. So it's about the new builders, or if someone wants to, start off with building something like you are. So Minecraft is really popular and is owned by Microsoft. Roblox has Roblox Corporation. So what is that kind of a competitive or, the market competition challenge that you faced, or are there any fears over there that's holding you back, or how do you deal with that kind of, competition that's branded very heavily by some big names?
Look, the good part about starting something new is that really, I think if like my background is from finance, and if I look at sort of startup journey from probability of success, it's a bad choice to take, right? Like I think anyone, like there are a lot of my friends and say that, oh, like obviously if you see LinkedIn today, it like to me when I read LinkedIn, it seems like I'm the only founder who's not a billionaire already, right? Like, hey, I founded my company. Like, how is it that I'm not a billionaire and then 100 billionaire, etc. So my point being that the reality and the statistics of building a company are so against you that like if you start thinking about that, you just end up in a paranoia. That doesn't mean that we don't look at sort of competition. I think the odds are against what we are building. The odds of success are obviously very, very against. I think if we achieve what we achieve, the outcome is so large and so impactful and so beautiful that is what makes the journey worth it, right? So in this goal, the way at least I look at it, I look at the end goal more rather than the probabilities of achieving it. So the idea to look at competition is to maybe learn, like I always call it borrowed intelligence, that obviously Minecraft, really intelligent people, what can we learn from them and build and do something better? Same with Roblox, same with Meta, same with every company, same with other startups which are building, right? Yeah. So I think for me, looking at competition and what is happening in the market is more borrowed intelligence. That's also the reason why I love reading books. I learn a lot from it, rather than worrying about the competition and the probability of success. Because I think if you do that, you'll probably never end up starting a company if you really see the statistics behind it.
Yeah. Great. I think, Anshul, we'll take one final question. I'm really sorry, guys. Some of your questions we won't be able to take, but we'll make sure, Anshul, we get those answers out of him, and we'll get back to you with those responses. But a final question. So recently, hackers have been able to break into different NFT marketplaces to steal funds and tokens. Now, if this trend is to be believed, crypto gaming platforms could also be in for security tests. So how are you tackling these concerns, or what are your views on this?
Yeah, I think it's a very good point. See, like what ends up happening is there are like in a centralized sort of system, since you can control all the interactions, it is a lot easier to sort of control the flow of information and the protection of information. Like freedom and autonomy comes at a cost, so does decentralization in the same manner. And a lot of it is because the SOPs to follow to protect your account, which everyone needs to do on their own, it's difficult for everybody to sort of read up on that, have the skill to keep following it. And of course, it's an ever evolving technology. Even if you have taken all the right steps, it is a cat and mouse game. There are people who are much smarter. An example I will give you, this is not a security hack directly, is we have a lot of fake Lakshmi NFT collections, and some people unfortunately have bought them because on the official links, our floor price is 1.5 ETH. I mean, we sold at $100. People are reselling it for $5,000, right? So some people get fake because of that. You have to do your own research. There are a lot of spams and scams going on, where you will give your account details if you connect your MetaMask to certain decentralized functions and do not disconnect it. They are able to somehow control your data. What we are doing, as I said, is we are a middle solution. Most things will be centralized, where we know how to protect security much better. We give you the option to decentralize it and take it on chain. Unfortunately, as you take it on chain, since you are the owner and you are the only person in control, a lot of the liability also shifts to the owner, right? So the flip side of ownership and the benefits is that the liability and protection will also come to you. And yes, it's an ever-changing cat and mouse game. I don't think there's an easy answer for me to say, hey, I've done this and no one can ever hack us, etc. I don't think anyone can say that. There are many, many smart people looking to crack systems all the time. And this will remain a cat and mouse game as it has in the Web 2 and even, all the digital world.
True. Great. Thank you so much, Anshul. Let's conclude this session. Do you have anything as your final instructions or any views that you'd like to share with the community out here?
No, I would just like to share at the end that, I'm extremely excited about Web3. I think I do hope that if there's one takeaway from these conversations that people have, is that Web3 is a reality. It definitely is something that needs your attention. Be more curious, learn about it. Obviously, after your analysis, if you feel that you would rather wait to do things in it, that's totally fine. But at least please don't ignore the changes and developments happening on it. It will, in a positive way or in a net positive way, impact all of us. So I think we all should be ready for it in order to contribute to it, in order to also make money from it, make careers on it, or contribute to it in any way we can.
Thank you. This was absolutely great, Anshul. And like I said, we have a lot more questions for you, so we will probably trouble you a little more so that we can reach out to the community with the answers. But let's stay connected, and really glad you joined us this evening.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Hey guys, so now we have a pinned tweet on our Twitter channel about the next chapter of DotFriday, which is into the metaverse. So follow if you haven't already. Retweet this pinned post and tag 2 non-follower friends. And 3 lucky winners, guys, get 25 USDT worth of DOT each. So don't miss this. It's just quick fun. So don't miss out on this one. And also a reminder about the 24-hour meme contest that we're running. So just showcase a meme saying you're a DotFriday. And we are looking forward to some exciting entries, and the top 3 memes will win 50 USDT worth of DOT straight into your wallet. So so looking forward to all of this, guys. And also our usual practice of our quiz that we have for the evening. So we have yet another series of questions that we'll be shooting at you through the evening, and top 3 answers for each round wins various kinds of giveaways. Each one has a different one. Right. So we would really love to start off with the first question of the day. And what you have to do to answer is go onto Twitter, post in your answer, tagging us at _Polkadot India, and hope you win, right? So let's have some fun. Here goes your first question, guys. So what was the percentage increase in play to earn games in July 2021? Your options: A, 128%, B, 252%, C, 300%, and D, 95%. Guys, post your answers: A, B, C, or D. Your options are on the screen, and tag us with underscore Polkadot India, and we'll get in touch if you win, right? I'll give you 2 seconds to register this, but moving on, he's an entrepreneur, a product leader. He's the VP of Business Operations at Wazirex India, who we have all heard about, and also part of the core team and creator of the Born to Die game. And now a little bit about Born to Die game. It is a AAA FPS game in the metaverse, where gamers fight against the environment and each other to complete various challenges or missions to unlock teleportation and even time travel in the metaverse. So are we ready to hear from Rashmi, who is the VP at Wazirex India and also one of the creators of Born to Die game? Of course we are. We can't wait. Rashmi, welcome. It's an absolute pleasure having you here, and glad to hear what you have to share with us today.
Hey everyone, hi Ananya. Thanks for having me here. It's a great honor and a privilege to speak here. Great discussions prior to this. Loved every aspect of it. Happy to share my thoughts, my knowledge on gaming, and take any questions that come after. So I guess I'll get started then. So I always do this before I start. I don't know if I have a way to share my screen and show a video. It's a 1.5 minute video. So that will set the context. Few of you might have seen the videos going around.
Yes.
This is an actual gameplay video, which is Born to Die gameplay with different environments, different maps, different setups being shown, and different weapons, obviously, getting used. So we'll skip through. Riding cars, vehicles is also included. I'll skip through to, let's say, compilation of different moves. Okay, I hope you like that video. So now let me talk a little bit more about gaming. So if I start, so when we started Web2 gaming, it essentially started with small games, arcade games of sorts, which we saw on Web2. And slowly we started becoming more and more mature and went towards AAA gaming. We have seen a lot of AAA games. We play a lot of AAA games. I have played games since 2000, so for 20 years now. Although not a pro gamer, I do not play competitively, but I play for leisure. I play to de-stress myself, and I play one or the other game every day. So what it means is the kind of games that you see in blockchain today is probably what was on Web2 10, 15 years back. And we're starting that journey again, but the journey on blockchain is not going to take 15 years. It's probably going to take about 2 years before we start seeing really high quality game coming on blockchain. One of the most talked about or recommended thoughts on blockchain gaming by pure gamers are like, hey, those are for kids, those are not really games, there are no skill involved. If you talk about an Axie Infinity, you don't really need a skill to play the game. It is a turn-based tile which is there. There are different genres of game coming, and there will be different adoption curve coming in. Now, while we talk about that, I think what we need to take a step back and understand is like what are the challenges that we see in the blockchain game, and why are these challenges there today, and how long will it take to overcome these challenges? Now, obviously, as a market matures or a market opportunity starts, not matures per se, but opportunity starts, we'll be finding very quick adopters who would be bringing in games which will start to cash on or kind of show that the market is existing and break that glass ceiling. We have been hearing about play-to-earn games for quite some time, but until Axie Infinity, no one really showed what its potential is at scale. Right? Axie Infinity, though a shitty game by any means you can talk about. I'm talking as a gamer, not as a in general. I tried Axie Infinity, never loved liked it, but it essentially showed the potential of play-to-earn game, and that unlocked the entire play-to-earn gaming space, right? And I think that is what a big thing. Why is primarily because what happens from here on is play-to-earn game is no longer a fallacy, no longer a thought that it might happen. It's actually it's happening in real world, and it has been proven that it's working. While it works, there are a couple of things that happens alongside. One side is the quality of the games, the timelines of the games, the kind of projects that are getting launched are having a very long time frame to go out to the public. All these are some practical issues, and that will get sorted by itself over time. I don't think there is a lot more issues there pending first. It's just that a matter of time before it can go out. Right? That's one part. The other side of the...
Before you start, your voice is echoing. Could you please fix your mic?
Not sure why. Let me do one thing. Is this any better? Or not really?
No, it's the same.
Okay, I'll take off my Bluetooth. This should be fine, I guess.
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now so where was I? Okay, so now as we get into the gaming space today in 2022, 2021, we saw play-to-earn unlock. Now 2022, what we'll see is real high-class gaming coming into picture for all of the users. Well, they'll start using these high-class games for and bringing in the economy, bringing in the play-to-earn aspects of the game, and start rolling out to users. Now that itself is a big deal. However, there is one bigger challenge that we saw which needs to be solved, and very few people are starting to. Quite a few people are starting to talk about it. It's the economic design of all games, right? And there are two points I'll put it over here before I go forward, right? Now, when we talk about a play-to-earn games, it's such a big opportunity. So globally, the gaming online gaming is about $250 billion market. But with the play-to-earn coming in, that economy size is going to explode. Probably to there's an expectation might go to $500 billion, but I also believe there is an opportunity and a real shot at becoming a $1 trillion industry in gaming. Because of play-to-earn, the adoption and everything is going to become really, really big. There is a big issue which is going to be a blocker there, which is the economic design around it. Now, I think this was mentioned previously also by the speaker that the best way to design the economy today is to have a zero-sum economy, right? So people are betting against each other. Someone is winning, someone is losing. But if we look at the history of crypto, a zero sum is not something which is going to take things longer. We need to design an economy which is essentially building things and blowing things out of proportion in a way, right? Or creating new wealth in the industry, in the ecosystem. Now, for that to happen, The economy design has to happen from scratch. And most of the Web 2 games, the way it is built, has to be redesigned from ground zero. And only then the economy is going to sustain itself. If that is not the case, the two of the things will happen. A, we might see hyperinflation, like we see in the case of Axie Infinity, where the value of the tokens crashed like anything. And once the value of the tokens crashes, you will have users who are no longer interested to play the game. One thing that I firmly believe in is users will start or playing the game for the rewards or for the earnings that is coming in, but they will continue to play for the game, right? Now, if the rewards crash and the game is not enticing enough, they will move on to a different game. Axie Infinity might have survived so long because there has not been a game at that scale while they were there. But in 2022, the choices for the users are going to be plentiful. And in that plentiful of choices, they will be going for economy design and gameplay design and choosing the best of the best. And only those will survive, others will not. So that said, I say this when I speak in general. So today we find a big rush towards NFTs, and there's a big hype of NFT. But my belief is 99% of these NFTs that we see today will not exist in the next 3 to 5 years. Similarly, there is a big rush of games. Hundreds of games are getting launched every month. But in 3 to 5 years, again, 90% of this, 99% of these games will not exist in the game space, primarily because they might not have solved the problem of economy and they would have crash landed, right? So here comes the opportunity. India as a country has got a lot of talent in terms of game design. We have got developers across multiple cities, game studios across multiple cities. However, we haven't seen a real AAA game or a big game come out of India, either in the AAA market or in the mobile gaming market. And we have mostly played games made from other countries. I think that is an area where we could see a lot of improvement. I hope we see a lot of improvement and we see that India emerges as a powerhouse in gaming. And second, whoever solves the problem of economy first, where thriving economy can be designed and which is not just having a zero-sum game, but actually creating wealth, like we have seen multiple cryptos are doing, that is also going to be really, really important and probably show pave the path for the next games to come in. These are the two areas in which there's a lot of opportunity, and I hope to see a lot more things coming in. We are taking a shot at it on both sides with Born to Die game. We are solving the quality of the game for sure. You have already seen the video and the gameplay there. That is something that it took about 2 years to build without trying to go and take the money first, like most other projects do, being old class or an old school founder for, so to say, product first, money, community, fundraise second. So we build the product first, and now we're going about the community. And we have done some interesting things around the economy as well. And I have got like a firm faith that this is the kind of model which is going to go forward and start solving economy at scale. Even when millions of users come in to play a game, there should not be hyperinflation, neither should be there hyperdeflation coming into the market. And the balanced economy is what is going to move forward. So I will be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Quite a few questions, actually, Rashmi. Okay, I'll just start shooting them away at you. So, gaming in consoles like PS5 or Xbox has huge audiences, and it has reached wider audiences across the globe now as well, right? So, even then, will these blockchain games evolve? And what's so special in blockchain gaming that is going to make it more attractive even for traditional gamers?
Okay. So let me put it this way, right? I think the one way how we are seeing blockchain game is A versus B. I don't think there is going to be a world where we go forward, it will be A versus B. We will play a Web 2 game or a Web 3 game. That's not a choice that users are going to make between those two. They're still going to make choices based on which game to play. I like this game, game A versus game B, or that's not going to be based on the tech platform per se. It's a blockchain or a non-blockchain game. Blockchain in this case, as a technology, will hopefully be coming into the background, and it will just happen. And 90% of the users will not even know if it is using a blockchain or a non-blockchain game. That's how we'll go towards in the future, right? Why are you going to play the game? The question or the answer is going to be very simple. That game is probably giving a far better experience, far better immersive gameplay, and far better retention than any other games. Yes, blockchain game would have an added advantage over the Web 2 games, where they would be able to, there will be users would be able to spend time and earn over a period of time, get rewards or earning. Now, what that would do is it will probably unlock a new era of industry, where people will can play game, let's say 8 to 10 hours a day, and make a living out of it. Now, the quality of the living, the amount of the living is, it could be something as good as taking some pocket money, or as good as getting a salary, and hence improving the entire economic paradigm over there. We will see various degrees of that, and how it is going to play out is anyone's guess at this moment. I personally believe that if we can make a gameplay where we can have a good segment of users coming and gaming and building an economy around that, that is like work, and you are working, you are using your skill, you are using your time to mint tokens. And around that, if economic design is strong enough, there will be a lot more thriving industry around it. Now, that's the second part of the question which you asked, right? Now, on the first part of the questions, consoles, I think we have already heard Microsoft Xbox saying that they will be adopting metaverse. They will be, they are open to blockchain integration and play-to-earn integration to the gamings. And I think I am hearing Xbox is also having similar discussions around in their, sorry, not Xbox, PlayStation is also having similar discussions around in their arena, right? Before next year, I'm pretty sure we'll first start seeing some play-to-earn games on console. Hopefully, with fingers crossed, I hope that Born to Die becomes the first game in the first-person shooter on the console with a play-to-earn aspect of things.
Super. Okay, so the next one, Rashmi, so is the current regulatory system is pretty complicated, and there are a lot of restrictions probably coming up. So what are your views on that? What are the kinds of winds of change that you are foreseeing, or how would you tackle this? And would crypto gaming or blockchain gaming be affected by this entire zone?
So is this a question for the gaming, or is this a question was Wazirix?
No, it's let's stick to the gaming part of it. We'll keep Wazirix out of this one.
I get this question all the time as a part of Wazirix, and I think crypto gaming. If let's focus on the crypto gaming aspect. I think there will be a lot more opportunities, lot more discussions around this. There would be a seesaw battle between authorities and products startups coming up. Now, the reason is very simple. This is I don't think this as an industry has got any. I mean, people can stop it anymore. This is now out. Why? At the least, what will happen is decentralized play-to-earn games will be out there, and there is no way anyone can stop it. You cannot stop an internet. You cannot stop decentralized play-to-earn gaming, right? Now, in case of centralized gaming, there could be some regulations, some requirements, some checks that authorities might ask for. And I believe that the future of gaming will be something in between a decentralized system and a centralized system. We are not yet at that kind of scale in blockchain that we can have a complete decentralized gaming. I don't think the scale or the latency or any of those things are going to support that on blockchain yet. So technologically, we are not there. So we will see a combination of centralized and decentralized gaming. Now with that, regulations will also kick in, and there will be certain checks and balances which will be in there to see how to play around with that. Even at Born to Die, we are exploring different aspects around that. It's a pretty complicated scenario. I cannot say which way or how it is going to get designed, but I hope that clarity comes sooner than later. I think one of the things that we might see is that one or two countries which will be enterprising enough across the globe will start giving this access to users, saying that, or to projects or to startups, saying that, hey, we are open for play to earn gamings because they see this as a great economic activity and opportunity. And companies will go and get domiciled in those jurisdictions, follow those jurisdictions' laws, and start making games from there on. I hope India also opens up. Being a, I am very passionate about seeing India emerge as a great player in this segment. And with as India emerges, I think that would be something I would love to see and adopt. But given that the history, how we take up regulations, we all know it could take years before we get there.
True, true that, true that. Okay, one more for you, Rashmi. So considering Born to Die is a PC game, now knowing the mobile gaming industry is at its peak and will keep growing, of course. What was the idea behind going for a PC or console-based game?
Right. So, so I think the path which you're following is similar to what PUBG had done in the past. We are going PC first, mobile next, and console coming in the next versions. The reason is very simple. It is easier to, so the game that we have made is console ready. What I mean by console ready is the graphics and the characters and everything is 4K, 8K ready, which you can play on a really big screen on consoles in general, right? Now it is easier from there to scale down and start putting it out for different screen sizes and resolutions and everything. So as we scale down, PC is the first one with all the activities, all the actions getting coded. That's also the arena where most of the hardcore gamers are. Now, if we win that hardcore gamers aspect, I'm pretty sure mobile is following really fast behind it. It will not be too many months before we get the mobile version out. And console is really depending on the market or the console makers to give us the permission to go and build a play-to-earn version there. So I hope, that's why I said I hope we become the first FPS shooter game on console. Nice. With play-to-earn in it.
Super, super. We'll take one final one from Varun today, Rashmi. So as you mentioned that 99% of NFTs won't even be there in existence or of any use in a couple of years. If that's the case, then how will metaverses thrive or even make a difference as a new vertical that we are seeing?
Great question. So I will take you back to 2017. 2017, 2018 saw a deluge of ICOs and coins coming out. I myself invested into hundreds of projects and lost on all of them mostly. Matic being the only exception where I invested and it turned out and delivered the product, right? But that did not mean that the ICOs stopped coming or the cryptos, coins, or the industries stopped coming. There are many products which have come out, which have delivered, which have done great over the past few years, right? The same adoption curve, the same curve will be also available on NFTs as well. Now, why I say NFTs will die out, it's not because I'm something against NFTs per se. It's mostly because most of the NFTs that we see today are hyped up, and the only reason we are seeing a 10K project where it is great art, so-called art, is that because they are aping others' projects, no pun intended, aping Bored Ape, trying to say Bored Ape became popular, so I can also become popular without really thinking through what's going to happen in the journey ahead, right? most of the benefits of the use cases that we see today are mediocre at best and downright laughable at the worst in general. So obviously, that's not going to sustain the test of time. That said, I am always happy to be surprised with a few ones coming up and making it big. But as an investor, as a person, I would not bet and try to lose money here. I would say and understand how it is getting used in NFTs here per se, right? One of the cases that I see now that is doesn't mean that NFT as a technology is bad. NFT at the end of the day is technology. What we are seeing, the NFT PFP arts is what I'm saying is going to die down in general, right? NFT as a technology is really big and has proven itself right now. So what we'll see is more and more real world artifacts, real world art, real world products will start having NFTs integrated into that to show a proof of ownership. That is possible. The second one is digital art. There was no way to sell real high quality digital what people used to spend hours, days, even months to build a digital art, similar to a offline art. And that will start getting appreciated and getting valued a lot more. It's not going to be the same like earlier the digital what was there was no way to prove that the ownership or control that is now solved with technology. Hence NFT in digital art is going to be a real good use cases. The third use case that I believe is going to be really big happening is in the gaming space. Why gaming space? It's not going to be the same way how we see in Web 2, all the gaming products like a skin, a sticker, all of those people think can become an NFT. It will not. That model of NFT is not going to scale. That model of NFT is not going to have liquidity into the system, and hence the demand for that will crash, right? And hence the value for that will crash. The model for NFT, like I said, the economic model is part of that is also NFT, needs to be rethought from ground zero. And with that, what would happen is people will be able to see use cases of NFT into games, and not just into one game, but we'll see interoperability across different games. And we'll see NFT as a use case has happened, like will become great in the gaming space as well. These are the three different use cases I see of NFTs. So NFTs are not going anywhere. The deluge of NFT PFP projects that we see, 10K projects with so many different characters, so many different combinations coming in every day. That's what I feel is going to go out.
Nice. Okay, we'll take one last one, Rashmi. So this one's by Aditya. I heard Angry Birds failed in 50 plus product launches before succeeding. How difficult is it to succeed in gaming and metaverses with such large target audiences?
So Angry Birds failed when products or games were really there were too many competitions over there, and and it was not clicking as a game. And it was not Angry Birds, but different versions, different products. I haven't gone through the list of what kind of games they had launched, or I don't know if that is public either. Now gaming as an industry essentially means that it's a space where you need to really, like I said, right? You might come for the rewards, but you'll stay for the gameplay. If the gameplay is not good enough, no one is going to stay there. You will fail ultimately. Now that's where the game economics comes in, the gameplay comes in, the psychology aspects come in, the game design comes in. Like there's 100 different things that has come together to make the game work. And as we see, we will also see similar things on the blockchain also. Now, if I put my neck out and say this, if Axie Infinity would have come on a Web 2 platform, they would have failed as well. The reason they succeeded is because they took advantage of a new platform, a new opportunity out there, and they were the only choice available. Hence, we found millions of gamers rushing to that, not because they were enjoying playing Axie Infinity, but because they were making a living out of it. Lower economy models like in Philippines, to a certain extent Vietnam and India, they started playing that game and earning thousands of rupees per day or per month, multiple thousands, tens of thousands of rupees per month. And that made a really good model to move forward, right? We are seeing new industries built around that. There is a concept called as guilds, I think, which probably Joseph will talk after this talk. There's an entire industry getting set up around gaming, around play to earn gaming, and that would have not been possible without the success of Axie Infinity. So although I may not like the game Axie Infinity, but I love what they have done for the industry. They have unlocked a big potential industry, and that is going to just move forward from here and without stopping.
Thank you so much, Rashmi. This has been a great session. Is there anything that you'd like to share with us finally to conclude the session, or probably give a shout out to Born to Die?
Sure, sure. So I think Born to Die, I think I've shown the video. We would love to build it with public. We would love to take your feedback. Do join check it on Twitter. Do join the Discord channel. Love to talk to everyone, hear your thoughts as we keep on revealing, as we keep on taking the project forward. We'd love to hear that. That's something I'd like to on one side. On a larger note, I would like say for an industry, for a ecosystem in general, gaming as an use case is going to explode in the next few years. We are just getting started, just scratching the surface right now. If you are a techie, if you are someone who is passionate about gaming, this is something that they are not just coding. There are multiple different arenas available here. And if you start putting, like I said, talked about coding is one part of the gaming coding. There's another blockchain coding over here for gaming, which you have to go integrate into gaming projects. Third is economy design, like it. So if you're an economy student, if you are good at building quant models, that is something that will come in there. There is a investment into NFTs and trading of NFTs. The trading aspects is going to become really, really big around gaming. There are guilds getting formed where you play the games and make money over there, and you don't have to invest. That's getting built as well. And guilds, of course, are different businesses coming up. Now, gaming will also bring in metaverse, in which on metaverse there will be businesses getting set up as the economics coming. So there's a opportunities galore out there, and if you just keep your eyes open and ears and keep on hearing, I'm pretty sure this is going to change the next 5-10 years, and you would be on the forefront of that. Don't miss out on this opportunity. I hope something good comes out of this at the end, but don't invest everything into this thing. Like I always say, in terms of advice, only invest as much as you can afford to lose. That is 5 to 10% of your portfolio at best, and learn, read, learn, get in. Don't get into the FOMO. Don't go into what people are saying about different coins. Say, if you don't do this, it'll go 100x. And if you see something, I think Anshul also spoke about this previous speaker. So if you hear something to be too good to be true, it is too good to be true. Don't fall into those scams. Thanks.
Thank you, Rashmi. This was absolutely great and brilliant advice, guys. I shall re-quote what Rashmi just said. Only invest how much you can afford to lose. I think that's some great advice. Thanks, Rashmi. We shall definitely keep in touch, and all the very best for Born to Die. Definitely looks super exciting. Thank you so much for joining us today again.
A good day. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Okay, guys, so time for a second quiz. So, again, to answer, follow us on Twitter if you haven't already. Post your answer, tagging us at _Polkadot India, and the top 3 answers will win our unique gift box. Right, so here's your second question. Which software company was behind the blockchain, the first blockchain game, CryptoKitties? That's A, Axiom Zen, B, Sky Mavis, C, Animoca Brands, or D, Yield Guild Games. So guys, options on screen, and post your answers A, B, C, or D, tagging us at _Polkadot India for some really cool giveaways, right? And also, hope you've not forgotten about our day-long contest of make a meme about you being here at DotFriday and tag us with it on Twitter. And top 3 memes can win 50 USDT worth of dot. Right. So now jumping on to the rest of the evening. So who we have here with us is a very respected name, a very renowned person who has come in time, and he has been a part of this entire zone for quite some time now, built himself. He has been associated with names like Halo. He's also worked building crypto or blockchain games that help dyslexic kids learn better. And most importantly, he is also the Chief Operations Officer at Engine Starter. Now, guys, this is a name that's, something you would have definitely heard, but Engine Starter is one of the most preferred launch pads for any kind of blockchain game, right? And it is the next gen launch pad for blockchain games, to be honest. So anyone launching a game, your first choice, trust me, you will come across Engine Starter. And we have for you the Chief Operations Officer himself, Joseph. It's an absolute honor having you here. And we can't wait for whatever you have to share with us today. Thank you for joining in.
Hi, hello. I'm trying to get my video working. Is it working now?
Yes, very much. We can see you, Joseph.
Okay, there we go. Hi, I'm at home, guys. It's like I'm in Singapore. It's 10 p.m. right now. Anyway, thanks for having me here. Really enjoyed the conversation so far. Felt like I learned a lot. Yeah. How should we start this?
However you wish to, Joseph. There's so much of experience that you come from with crypto gaming. So
all right. So I have a very contrary view of a lot of things in life. Maybe because I just want to have a contrary view, just for the heck of it, But I mean, I've been involved in gaming for a long time. Way back since early 2000. It started with like even the most basic gaming companies. I did a lot of work with Nokia when I first started my career. I was going all over Asia, doing R&D, product R&D, and working with those really basic big Nokia development companies. We did very basic, simple games. I coordinated with HQ in Finland, and we were looking at all kinds of things, about gaming and the phone and all that at that time, and it was really confusing time as well, because they didn't know which direction they wanted to go. In the end, Nokia felt that everybody wanted to make movies with their phone, and I objected to that view. I said, no, I don't think I can believe in that. So then I moved on in my career, and a lot of the Nokia developer companies became huge, massive gaming companies later on when free-to-play became a big thing, when Nokia started to fall apart, right? So I still kept relationship with them. I worked with publishers. I worked with games that was doing $1 million a day in revenue. I work with games where we have customers paying us, $1 million a month, $2 million a month, just to play the game. A single guy paying, millions of dollars a month just to play the game, right? And the question is why? Why were they doing it? The question is, what happened in this space? And that only happened really when free-to-play games started coming up, which is ironical, right? I mean, free-to-play, but people paying millions of dollars. All right, and after that, I worked together with Xbox for about 3.5 years, mostly on some game launches in the Asia Pacific region. I worked on the game launch for Halo, for Mass Effect, really interesting times, how we went to market, how we went to try to get the gamers on board, how we try to build the communities. And honestly, all the things that we did back then, we don't even do like 1% of it right now for blockchain games, not even 1%. Crypto marketing is what? AMAs, KOLs, Telegram, Twitter. That's crypto marketing, right? But it's so different, right? When we're working on real games, it's really about community building. It's about, I'll go into it more. I don't want to say too much right now, but I just slowly reveal it, as I go along in this talk, right? And after that, I was with Grab. I was head of R&D with Grab for a few years here in Singapore. Grab is like an Uber, and one of our crowning achievements is we got Uber out of Southeast Asia. So, I was really much into data analytics. So, took a very data-centric approach to analyzing things. And that's what I do right now when I look at the crypto space, I look at the gaming space, I look at it that way as well. But I really look at it from a lens, from a gamer's point of view, and not so much from a, typical blockchain point of view. So with that perspective, right, when games come to me, it's, I'm the guy who's like mostly evaluating which projects to work with, what games to work with and stuff like that. and oops, what happened? Something happened. Nothing, I think. This is me, sorry. Yeah, I clicked something accidentally. So when I talk to them, right, I mean, I don't have that typical launchpad conversation with them, like, well, what's your tokenomics, what's this, what's, of course, I look at those things, those are important, right? But I look at it at last, at the end. I have a very game first philosophy, gaming first, and to me, game 5 means game is first, and the second, the other part is the second part, right? And I need, when I talk to games, it's really important to me that the game can, that the game works, the game is exciting, the game is playable, the game can be launched, the team can launch the game, they can go to market, they know who the gamers are, they know how to reach them. The big problem with blockchain gaming is we don't have distribution channels. We don't have effective distribution channels, right? The only distribution channels we have right now are guilds and esports. And that's a big problem, you see, because it means that you only can have 2 types of games, essentially, right? You need multiple distribution channels for different areas, different things. And I think sometimes the guild thing, right? The guild thing has caused games to be a bit, schizophrenic, right? Because they don't know who they are or what they're trying to be, right? So play to earn to me is an interesting concept, but I don't think it should be the first focal point for a game, because I think it's not sustainable. And if the game itself is not enjoyable, it's not something you want to invest in, then I don't think you can go on. Like I said, right, I know I was with one game where it was a free-to-play game, and 98% of the gamers were not paying 1 cent to play the game. Okay, only 2% of the gamers were paying to play the game, but it was doing $1 million a day, right? From the 2%. Okay, so the question is, why are the 2% paying? So yes, pay to earn is interesting. I think pay to earn is interesting for the 98%, and it can really evolve free to play in a very interesting way. And I'm looking for that evolution. I'm looking for that balance. I'm looking for games that can solve this, and bring very interesting strategies into this. I think NFT plays a very important role in this. Basically what we're looking for is, as a launchpad, right? As a launchpad, we do IDOs all the time, but we are more focused on finding a game that can have a good IDO, but also can have a good launch. We're focused on gamer acquisition. We are focused on helping them with retention. We are focused on helping games figure out a strong monetization strategy. Without strong monetization, right, it's going to be so difficult. Yes, like what Rishi was saying, right? You start with the desktop game, you move on to mobile, you move on to console, and if the game is good, it has that progression path. But where's the money coming in? A lot of these games, they say, okay, let's do an IDO, and then okay, monetization after that. What are you going to do? They have no idea. I'm going to do NFT sale, but that doesn't really work, you see. So for me, right, what we're looking for Engine Starter is, games that can really make people stop and think and look and say, wow, this is a blockchain game. This is so different. And I know what people are going to say. They're going to say, hey, but blockchain gaming is difficult. It's onboarding is difficult. It's not like a mobile. It's so easy. It's so hard to get into the hands of the people. But I was involved in games which were so difficult to play. So difficult to get your hands on. So, I mean, those really indie games, right? And people will go through crazy lengths just to play those games. It's like when you fall in love with someone, you fall in love with a girl, right? You'll climb mountains, you'll cross rivers just to see her, right? You don't care, you just go. So that's the same thing, right? If you find something that can capture people's imagination, that can get them excited and emotional about it, right? They will go through those difficult challenges just to play the game, just be part of that group in the society, So gaming is not just about the economics of it, it's more than that. The whales need an audience, they need status, they need to feel important and powerful, and they'll be willing to pay for that. And if you know how to monetize that, that's fantastic. If you know how to use NFTs to monetize properly, that's fantastic. If you know how to use competitive spirit, to monetize, that's fantastic. Play to earn on its own, just play to earn, just like that. It cannot last because it's just grind, it's work. It needs to have a competitive element to it. This is how I feel, you see. But I think that everything that's done so far is such a wonderful foundation. And I think the industry will figure itself out. The games will figure it out. Just like the free-to-play games, they slowly figured it out, how to get that balance, So I don't know why I've been rambling on, where this first question led me here, but here I am. So any questions based on everything I said?
I don't know about questions, but internally there's chat going on, and one of the comments is that everything this guy is saying is gold.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I just
Awesome.
want you to know that.
One of my shillers, I think, maybe. Yeah. So yeah, that's my view, right? I mean, why do we play games? Let's ask a basic question. Why do we play games? Fantasy, right? To forget, to escape, to enjoy, adventure. All these things, that's the reason why we do it, And you mentioned about that small little non-profit studio that I have in California for the dyslexic children, right? Game can also be educational, right? It can be therapeutic and healing as well, By the way, it's not a crypto game. It's a traditional game, What are dyslexic children going to do with crypto? It's a game for them. It's played in, it's not really played, it's being used by schools in California right now. But the point I'm trying to make is that there's real value in games. It can have, and that effect of just escape, entertainment. But what free-to-play taught us was that, that people join games for many reasons, right? Like, if I was a super skilled gamer, I would join it because I love the challenge of the game. But we also know that there are a lot of people who get into it because they can be kings of that world. They can be someone in that world, right? And they can go back to their real world and just do their thing. But in this world, there's somebody, and they have that community and that bond, right? And what free-to-play did was it brought that atmosphere for these guys, right? And why those guys were playing is because a whole massive community could come in and play for free. But the big problem with free-to-play games was that it introduces a lot of friction, right? It introduces so much friction. Why? It slows you down because they try to get you to pay, right? That's the whole mechanics of it, right? It slows you down to play. And until you can only play for 10 minutes in a day, and that's it. I can't do anything. I have to wait until the next day or tomorrow if I just pay for something and I can move on. You see, so that's the problem with free-to-play. It really exploded, but that friction is a problem. And I feel that, hey, that play to earn can perhaps bring something to solve that, you see, so and that's what we're trying to do here at Engine Star. We're really so focused now in trying to find these games and help them, and guilds, for example, guilds. What are guilds? Their purpose? Guilds are there to find scholars. Guild's purpose is to find these guys who are willing to work 8 hours a day. They're trying to find as many of these guys. And when they talk to games, they say, okay, tell me about your game. In 8 hours, how much can he earn? In 7 days, how much can he earn? In 30 days, how much can he earn? I mean, I object to that. I thoroughly object to that. To me, that's not a game. I don't know what that is, right? I feel if someone's going to earn something, he has to earn it, right? He has to do something of value, you see? And there are ways you can design the game of play to earn game where a gamer is actually giving real economic value. I can do something for you and you will be happy by what I do and you give me a reward, right? But it's not just for clicking a button and using my server space, and it's got to be more than that because it's not sustainable. You see, so but I'm seeing very interesting models right now coming up where, the play to earn aspect is coming from the NFTs, okay? And that's exciting, but only gaming first games can do that, right? So if NFTs in the game are so valuable, so hyped up, it's got some really interesting storyline into it, and you can, earn those NFTs through the game. That's phenomenal. Of course, liquidity is a problem, but like I said, you're playing the game because of what? Because of fantasy, because you're enjoying it, because of social status, community, friends, escape, right? These are why you're playing it. If there are benefits and bonuses out of that, then you win. When we were doing campaigns to launch games, right, we always ask ourselves one thing, right? Can this game capture people's imagination? And if you can do that, you won the battle. Then that game, you scale it, like you market it like crazy. You push it like crazy. And what I want to see in the blockchain space, I wanted to see and think this way. I want them to say, I don't want them to come to a meeting with me and say, oh, I have the dual economy, I have the P2E, I have this, I have that, I have that. What is your game about? Who's going to play this game? And I ask them, who's going to play this game? They look at me like, you're the only launchpad asking me this question. How are you going to get the game in the hands of the gamers? But why are you asking me this? Well, I'm going to do AMAs. I'm going to do KOLs. I said, come on. I don't encourage, I mean, I love KOLs, but I don't encourage games to keep relying on KOLs, all the time. There's got to be a better way. Gaming KOLs is so fantastic, They don't take allocation, but you have to work with them. You're going to convince them that this is a good game, You can't just say, hey, take an allocation, promote my game. No, you really have to convince them. They have to be bought into it. They have to be convinced, right? So what I want to see from games in the blockchain space is a bit of soul, a bit of fantasy, a bit of thinking, a bit of capture my image, make me like, wow, I can't wait to play that game. But don't just thrill me with graphics. I've seen so many graphics look fantastic. I believe, yes, the graphic looks fantastic, but game mechanics is so important, and sustainability of the game is important. Monetization of the game is important. I want games to be able to monetize up to 100 million, 200 million. I work with games where we spent $500 million developing the game, but we made 800 million, right? A good game, a good escape should be spending that kind of money, I feel, personally, Of course, there are casual games as well, which don't have to, but still, that's my view.
That's very touched to hear, because one of the biggest questions is, how does a game stand out, or how does a story stand out? And I think you helped solve that problem really well. Thanks, Joseph, for that. Probably one question would be, so how does one, like you said, it's not just about the marketing, it's not just about the soul. So how does Engine Starter actually get people on board, or how do you go about it? Why is Engine Starter one of the most preferred launch pads for gamers or game builders? So if you could throw some light on that.
Yeah, I hope it is. But I think we are shifting gears, right? In Engine Starter. When we started out, we are only like a 5-month-old company, right? And we've exploded, right? But when we started, we were like, okay, your game, come, we'll do an IDO. You got a pulse, okay, come, let's do an IDO, right? And that time in the bull market, anything with GameFi, metaverse, selling land, NFT was going to do well, But we started shifting gears because I joined about 2.5-3 months ago, and I said, look, we got to really change towards quality focus. And now I pretty much reject like 99% of the games I talk to. Okay, and when I speak to the games, I tell them that I want to see how you do the go-to-market strategies, how you do monetization, and that's important to me. And that's when and I communicate that to our Engine Starter community as well. You see, because they also concerned, because we've seen so many ideas come up where when the game hypes like crazy, and everyone's waiting for the game launch. But when the game launch happens, what happens? All-time lows, right? Because that's my last chance to dump, right? That's the last piece of news I can get to dump it. So what our community is starting to understand from us as I engage with our Engine Starter community is that, we are seriously looking for games that can actually make it. And that's why I'm so happy to be working with Born to Die. When we met them and they presented to us what they're doing and all that kind of things. So to me, that was, yes, that is the game first. project that can make people stop and think and look and see, hey, wow, and they have really interesting economics inside the game as well. We just started our collaboration. We're going deeper into it next week, and we're going to do some massive campaigns together, because I love doing massive campaigns. It's just me. So even the engine started, right? We're going to do massive campaigns, right? When I started, I said, look, guys, I need a marketing budget. They said, like, what? I said, this much. They said, what, for the whole year? I said, no, I want this much for every month. But when we started and when we run these campaigns, right, marketing is not about throwing money and burning money. It's about making 10x more. Why do you market, right? Because you want to make 10x more. Yeah. So I should be spending $500,000 a month on marketing, right? By that logic, you know what I'm saying? And games should not be afraid of it. I meet some blockchain games and say, what's your budget? 20,000 a month. What? Can you add a 0 and times 2? So yeah, again, I just ramble and go off different tangents. I'm sorry about that. I hope it's okay.
Absolutely. I think like us, our team and the community would love listening to you for longer. But again, a couple of more questions, Joseph, but won't take too much of your time. So you have come with time. You have seen gaming over the years. How does 2022 look? Where are we headed? A lot of projects, of course, coming up, but how does the future of blockchain gaming look to you? And
I would say, in a word, I would say promising. But if you give me 3 words, promising, but also scary, right? The biggest problem with blockchain gaming is that there are difficulties to actually play the game, right? There are difficulties in distribution, right? So for me, an engine starter, the way we see it is that we can't solve that easy onboarding for blockchain games. We can't solve. Someone smarter than us will solve it eventually. Things will become better over time. So if you're facing a scenario like this, where you have a lot of interest, you have a lot of excitement, but you have a lot of barriers that traditional gamers may not be able to hop. You have your indie gamers who are so against NFT and play to earn, that whole concept, right? And the barrier to entry, the wallets, the this, the that. So how do you solve this problem now and create something good for 2022? Are we going to say, look, let's sit and wait for intelligent people in a few years to solve that problem and do nothing right now? No, we have to do something right now, right? So it brings back that point I brought up earlier, right? Is that you got to go into the emotions, right? You got to appeal to the emotions of the gamer, that they will jump through hoops to play the game, even if it's difficult, right? Right. Same thing happened with Steam. Everybody wanted to play some games on Steam, but you could only get it on Steam. So like, what's Steam? Okay, I'll just sign up anyway. It's difficult, it's irritating, it's annoying, but I don't care. I want to play the game. You see, so that's what I'm trying to say about example. If you fall in love with a girl, right, you will travel hours just to see her. You don't care about how difficult the journey is and all that, because you just want to see her. So the only way we can solve, our view, to solve the problem and to make something interesting and tangible and exciting and explosive for 2022 is to find games that capture people's imagination. And then they're willing to overcome all those barriers just to play the game.
Very, very beautifully said again, Joseph. Like while we would have a lot to ask you, we hope to interact with you a lot more, probably have a couple of AMAs with you in coming times. Would love to dig your brains on a lot of this. Anything else you would love to share with us, Joseph, before we wind this up?
Don't get me started.
Oh, please, you may continue. Feel free to join the conversation and let's trouble Joseph some more. But yeah,
I'm all right. If you have questions, I'll answer them. But I think I've said everything I need to say. If there's a question, I'll take one last question. That's fine.
Sure. Amit, do you have anything to say, or can I shoot the last one?
Go ahead, shoot the last one. I would just love to share what the private chats and messages that I've been receiving.
Sure, sure. Okay, Joseph. So one thing is a lot of people are still getting used to the whole idea of, just about when virtual reality came in, and then suddenly there's the metaverse, and people are transitioning their whole thought process. So, what do you have to say to this? And people still misunderstand and still confused about what's going on around the world. So, how long do you think this is going to take, and how do you think people are going to transform in time with this thought?
I think it will happen, from a technology point of view, it's got to be web, pure web, right? I shouldn't have to download something to go into the metaverse, into the VR world. That's one thing, on the other hand, most people get dizzy and bored after a while, and so there's a lot of hype right now. But again, it really boils down to what I said earlier, right? Fantasy, excitement, content.
Yes.
It's the content creators, the IP holders who will drive you. Can you imagine if I told you that there's going to be a Lord of the Rings metaverse and you can travel through Middle Earth in 3D?
Yeah.
How would you, now that you got my attention, you captured my attention, you made me go like, wow, this is so awesome, right? It's about the content. It's not about if I can travel through Middle Earth, you're telling me I can do that? I can see it, and I can go to Hobbiton, I can go to Riverdale, I can go all these places.
Yeah.
I would do it in a second. Okay. So that's my answer to your question.
That's beautifully said. Great, great, Joseph. I think we'll trouble you more with more questions that we have, and probably we'll get back to the community with that. Amit, over to you for what you have to share with Joseph.
Thank you so much, Joseph. And there are a bunch of gamers there, and some of the private chats that I've been receiving that, hey, I want to hear, there are people who are developing games, and they're saying, I would love to speak to Joseph on really getting some insights on how to do it better, etc. But definitely multiple things from gamers, game developers, really appreciating the content of your talk. So you in between, you said whether you were rambling or not. No, all of us were really glued. We loved listening to it. Pearls of wisdom sprinkled all throughout your talk. So thank you so much, Joseph.
Pleasure. Right. So just to the game developers out there, right? I'm also a very practical person, right? So we've been building up a database of active gamers. I think right now we have close to 500,000 active gamers in Southeast Asia, right? And my goal is, at the end of the day, like I said, I know the problem is publishing, distribution, and games, right? So we're focusing on finding these people who are real gamers, not the play-to-earn scholars, but real gamers, and who understand crypto, and using these guys. And we want to work with our whoever games that we work with, and help them run these campaigns with these active gamers. But of course, the most important thing is I treasure these active gamers a lot. I will not spam them with rubbish games, right? So I will definitely promote Born to Die to these guys, right? Because their game has that fantasy, has that sparkle, which I look for, Yeah.
And fantastic and pretty deep storyline behind Born to Die as well.
Yes, I really like it a lot.
So a couple of things that you touched upon, which I should totally highlight. So we guys are building layer 1, which also focuses interestingly in the gaming sector. One of the things that Rashmi did mention was the tech does not exist, for handling so many transactions on chain concurrently, which is absolutely correct. It does have, so what we guys are also building is, a layer 2, which is a scaling solution via rollups. But while building our own chain, we are getting a bunch of interesting ideas that we have started working alongside. One of them happens to be an inter-metaverse travel port project called Metaport. So it was great validation. You talk about it, and once this comes of age, one of the things that we intend to do once our protocol is also successful is giving communities on Earth a metaverse of their own, where the cryptocurrency built by us could be utilized out there. So definitely very interesting things that are cooking up, and in 2022 like let us also find you some soulful games from India, and lots that's about to happen this year in the entire
Yes.
and play to earn space.
Yes.
So we're excited about it.
Definitely, definitely. I agree with you. A lot of interesting things happening. It's going to be very different from last year.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great.
Great.
Thank you.
Sorry, Ananya. So a word of thanks again. May I just steal that from you? Also to Rashmi and Prasoon from the Born to Die team who are here with us right till the very end. I think Anshul had to leave in between. And all of you all who stayed till the end, guys, we've been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so very much. And, your time and attention are yours, and you've been very generous with it, all of you all, staying with us till the end. So thank you for it. And thank you especially Rashmi and Joseph for being, really sharing a ton of insights, wisdom, really practical aspects of, going about developing games and filling us with inspiration with, Born to Die as well, Rashmi. So thank you so very much for your time as well.
Thanks, Amit. Really glad you really thanked them because much needed. It was a great session this evening. Especially Joseph, that one takeaway that I have from you, I think the whole community will agree, is that a lot of us wonder what really works with so many projects going on and so many million NFTs coming out every day, and only a few making the right bucks out of it while a few just don't. And I think we all have the answer. What really works, in the world of Web3 now to really stand out is the soul behind it, the story behind it. So guys, if you're building your projects, if you're working on something, I think that's a great takeaway. Make sure there's a soul to it. Make sure you have the right story that you can, speak about. So thank you so much, Joseph, for all these lovely insights. And thank you, Rashmi, too, for being such a great example to showcase today. I think we'll move on with the evening. We have one final question for you guys. And this time around, it's like up to 50 USDT worth of dot to be won for the top 3 answers. So your question is here: how many active blockchain games exist as of today? A, less than 100, B, 100 to 200, C, 200 to 500, and D, more than 500. So guys, same old rut. You gotta go on Twitter, tag us with your right answer at hashtag, at the rate of _Polkadot India. And the top answers get to have some interesting drops on them, right? With that, guys, we come to a close to this DotFriday, and we are already excited to bring to you our next DotFriday that's into the metaverse. And that's happening on the 25th of March. Do join us because these conversations are going to be really amazing. And for our developer buddies out there, guys, don't miss the final boot camp next Saturday. And we look forward to your assignments tomorrow as well. And a lot of dot drops there for good submissions. And finally, a reminder, guys, for the 24-hour meme contest. Come on, let's have some fun. Bring out your funny bones out there, and interesting drops there as well. You have been a fantastic audience, guys, and thanks for keeping it interactive. Thanks for joining in every time. Do come back and stay connected with us via the link in the chat box of all our media channels. And have a great evening ahead, all. Let's all stay inspired as always.